Hi folks, and welcome to today's video, which is a discussion video. It's part 2 of our discussion video responding to comments on our video, Why Aren't Toy Companies Producing Animatronic Robots for Us? And as you can see, we've got two additions here in this video. An Ugobi Pleo and Bitsy. And those are both here because they are mentioned in the comments that we're going to be responding to today. So we're going to carry on where we left off last time with this comment. I would like to see interactive toys for adults with that same AI-powered emotional intelligence factor that are also soft and cuddly to hold and relatively simple to operate, not needing an app, for instance. Things like the original Furby fostered natural, nurturing and playful interaction in a very simple way. So, soft and cuddly to hold. That's not something you often get with robots, is it? Especially when robots are produced not by a toy company. I'm thinking the iLeaks and Luna, they're both hard-bodied, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is, Paul? Ibos as well.
An example of why it might be is that if you take Metacat, they use the experience of a plush company.
Yes.
And put their own robotics inside, and I think it's because these robotics companies, startups, you said? Yeah. So these robotic startups, they don't have experience with plush. Right.
Yeah. I suppose that's one thing that toy companies have a lot of experience with.
That's right. And maybe it's true that toy companies don't have a lot of experience with robotics and...
Yeah, they use this more mechanical means, don't they? Having said that, there was that collab between Tiger Electronics and iRobot when they made My Real Baby.
Yeah, that's some time ago as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but look at all the robotics companies now.
Yeah.
You would think a toy company would work with a robotics company to produce something different, wouldn't you?
You would do. And just talking about plush, I noticed you've got the Pleo there. Now, okay, Pleo's not plush, but she does have a rubber skin.
Yeah, it's more tactile. It's not cold.
Yeah, wasn't Pleo mainly designed by Caleb Chung? Mm-hmm. It was like a personal project of his. It was
like a bunch of enthusiasts together.
Yeah, so not exactly a toy company.
But he has designed things like the Furby that was produced by a toy company, Hasbro.
That's right, so he's got toy experience, yeah.
And the Pleo doesn't use servos, does it? That's more sort of like linkages and...
I believe the motors and gearboxes inside the Pleo do have feedback.
Right.
So there is like a servo loop mechanism, although they're servos designed to fit in the design of the Pleo rather than using separate servos that you put in afterwards. They're sort of designed from the ground up.
Yeah, they're sort of like a combination, aren't they?
I'd say that is a tremendously expensive way of doing things.
Yeah. And this other thing that was mentioned, not needing an app. That's one of the nice things about the iLeaks. There's no app. Now, Luna does have an app.
Yeah.
But you can use it without firing up the app.
Yeah, which is good. It's funny because I think when apps... it's a great idea, isn't it? You've got a smartphone, the tremendously powerful thing with a great screen, so it makes sense to use them with toys and even domestic products. But you get tired of using apps with things, don't you?
I think it's really limiting when a model totally relies on an app as well. Remember Cosmo? People complaining that it was tying up the phone.
Yeah.
Because you had to run the app to have Cosmo on.
Well, I believe part of Cosmo's processing power actually came from the app, didn't it?
So I suppose I think apps are okay as long as you can use the product without the app.
Yeah, so sort of
And the
dual use.
apps an addition rather than a
Yes.
fundamental
Absolutely,
part of it.
absolutely agree with that. Yeah, that's my personal preference.
So, carrying on with the comment talking about Furbies, I had 3, including a baby, and to this day I still remember their individual personalities. The 2 robotic babies I mentioned above, that was My Real Baby and Robo Baby, also had this characteristic very strongly. I think this could be achieved in things for adults by not only adding better, more complex movement, but increasing unpredictability and the capability of learning from interactions with the use of AI, and also increasing the typically short periods of time between a toy's programmed needing something every 20 to 30 minutes when active instead of every 3 to 5, for instance.
I absolutely agree with all those comments, yeah.
I think there's some really good points made there, and there's certainly things that I have thought myself when we were talking before. Are toy companies incapable of producing something that would appeal to an adult in the terms of animatronics and robotics, or is it a choice? And I said I thought they were capable because precisely of what this commentator's saying, that a lot of it is in how it's programmed.
Yeah.
So kids just want something that's like in the face and doing something all the time.
Instant response, noisy. Yeah.
Whereas an adult would like something that's more realistic. So say something needs feeding, it's only going to ask to be fed maybe, as this person says, 20 or 30 minutes or less than that. You know, maybe just once every couple of hours or something like this to make it more realistic.
Yeah.
So it's basically making something seem more alive. That is what adults like. And something that's not going
to be... Replicating something biological.
Yeah.
Copying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something biological is not going to want to be fed every 5 to 10 minutes, for instance. Yeah. So moving on to some more comments now. We've had some comments talking about it being frowned on generally, adults collecting toys. I think that's changing because 25% of toys are bought by adults now.
I think there's been a slow improvement in attitudes towards adults having toys.
I thought this was interesting what this person said. They said that they like watching cartoons. We've seen some cartoons that we've actually really enjoyed, haven't we?
Yeah.
Like we watched an episode of Hello Kitty, but it's the older ones. It's the ones from the 90s.
Yeah.
Not the later ones.
And we enjoyed that because it was a very different take on humour.
It's in the original Japanese with subtitles.
That's right, yeah.
So it's centred around some jewel thieves. And it was just so funny how they were made to feel that they were looking like really more and more uncomfortable because
the jewel thieves,
because the Kitty twins were making them feel guilty
because they were so innocent.
Yeah, and so nice to them. It was really funny.
Talking about watching cartoons, though, I remember when I was a kid, my dad used to watch cartoons with me, and he
That's
enjoyed
interesting
them.
Because things like the old Tom and Jerry, and even like Wile E. Coyote. Adults used to watch them, didn't they?
With the kids. Yeah.
And I think
was that like an excuse? So I'm watching it with me kid.
But adults used to enjoy them. And I think over time, cartoons are things that have become more
for children.
Baby-fied.
Yeah. They've lost that dual sense of humour that appeals both to adult and child, yeah.
There's somebody else talking about Lego and reborn dolls. They are areas that have been growing for quite a few years now, where adults are the consumers. Somebody mentioned Robo Baby. They hadn't heard of it either.
Oh, we hadn't, and we've got one coming.
Actually, it arrived today. The next video that I'll be doing will be an unboxing and review of Robo Babies. This is an interesting comment. I'll read this one out. I think toy companies need to finally realise that kids don't play with toys like this, no matter how pink, cutesy, fluffy, basic, etc. They make these modern interactive robotic pets. They don't do enough. Huawei have really pissed me off
Yeah.
in how they're marketing Dog E. In 2006, they made a robot media centre for crying out loud, and now they're using crappy TikTok voices in their Dog E tutorials. I watched a couple of videos on Dog E today, and I know exactly what this person means. It was so irritating. As I say, sort of like babbified.
Okay.
And it also made me think about For Real. For Real were really, really good when they first came out in the 2000s.
I mean,
And
that's
so-
where
so-
the name came from, fur real. I mean, they
Yeah,
were real,
because-
lifelike, and they generally had a fur covering on, or feathers or something like that.
And now we've got things like Poop-a-lots and Walk-a-lots in the For Real line, and they are the crappiest, cheapest looking things that they just look like totally artificial. They don't do much.
Cheap and easy to produce, though.
Yeah, this, in my view, they're awful, and yet they still got the same branding For Real. It's not the same thing at all.
No, it's not. There is an emphasis in turning out plastic that doesn't do anything, and using advertising to try and sell it.
Well, that's right. It does look like, to me, like some toy companies, they find that if they make an animated series,
Like a cartoon series or something.
yeah,
like that.
and they put it on YouTube,
They try and get
it just acts
hooked on
like a
that.
glorified advert.
That's right, yeah.
And then they'll just do the characters. They're very basic toys. They don't do much.
They must find it less risky
Yeah.
not to put as much money into a high techno toy, which is a great idea, appeals to kids, may appeal to adults, but will it or won't it work? Will it fail? Will it be a flop? If it is a flop, it's a big hit for a toy company, isn't it? To produce something expensive and for it to sell badly one year.
And then this comment goes on, although not exactly a robot, I decided to give a Bitsy a chance and I really like it. It had the modern V-Pet aspects that I could take or leave, but I really do admire the technology used. So this is the Bitsy. Can you briefly say how this works, Paul?
Oh, it's dead novel, isn't it? You've got a set of LEDs there. You can see it. It's just a
Yeah.
line of LEDs, and this on a strip, flexible strip, and it vibrates. And the microcontroller inside turns them on and off at the right time and the right colour to display a picture. It's a persistence of vision type thing for the on the human eye.
It is very novel. I like the idea of it. But what I didn't like was how they've implemented it. So that every animal just seems to do exactly the same thing, you know. It makes these sorts of noises. It goes on its back when you stroke it.
Okay, yeah.
And when the animals want attention, you've always got to sweep up a great big pile of poop. Even when it's a goldfish. You know, it's like the same for all of them.
I think the graphics are great.
Yeah.
The way things like come from a distance, come towards you. They could have made the games more complicated and more varied.
I think the games weren't bad, actually. What I didn't like was the process of looking after the pet.
Right, okay.
I mean, I think they should have had something different for looking after a goldfish than for looking after a dog.
You know, pile of poop's easy to show, but other needs might be more tricky to show on a limited screen.
They could have done something like you could have emptied water out of the bowl.
Right.
Because they did that in one of the games with the watering can.
Or take it for a walk or something like that, you mean?
Or take the dog for a walk
Yeah.
or something like that. So we've run out of time again, and we've got all of these comments to discuss.
Okay.
So we're going to have a part 3 and probably a part 4 after that.
Right.
But the next video is going to be the unboxing of the Robo Pet.
Oh, good-o. Dina's looking forward to that as well.
But that's all for this video, folks. Thanks for watching as always, and hope to see you next time.